Hare Krishna, and Hare Krishna to all the devotees online who have joined us for this morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. Just on behalf of His Holiness Kadamba Kanana Swami, we want to apologize that he's not able to give the morning class. He's quite busy with various phone calls that ended up quite late or early this morning, late last night, early this morning, so he asked to be excused. So still we hope that by Maharaj's grace and all of the devotees' grace here, we can try to represent him in the best possible way. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodha Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodha Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodha Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodha Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodha Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Radha Radhanath Radha Radhanath Radhe Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Jaya Gaura Hari Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Astottara Sata Sri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Iskan Samstapakacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Astottara Sata Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Sakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radha Kund Giri Govardhana Ki Vrindavan Dhama Ki Mayapur Navadip Dhama Ki Ganga Mai Ki Yamuna Mai Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Tulsi Maharani Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bom. So we're continuing the reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 22, the marriage of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. We will read text 17 this morning. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yam Harmya Prishte Kvanat Angrishobham Vikridatim Kandukka Vivala Akshim Vishvavasu Nyapatat Svat Vimanat Vilokya Sammoha Vimudha Cheta Yang Harmya Prishte Kvanadangri Shobhang Yam Harmya Prishte Kvanadangri Shobhang Vikridatim Kanduka Vibhalakshim Vikridatim Kanduka Vibhalakshim Vishvavashunya Patatsvad Vimanat Vishvavashunya Patatsvad Vimanat Vilokya Sammoha Vimudha Cheta Vilokya Sammoha Vimudha Cheta Yang Harmya Prishte Kvanadangri Shobham Vikridatim Kanduka Vivalakshim Vishvavashunya Patatsvad Vimanad Vilokya Sammoha Vimudha Cheta Yang Harmya Prishte Kvanadangri Shobham Vikridatim Kanduka Vivalakshim Vishvavashunya Patatsvad Vimanad Vilokya Sammoha Vimudha Cheta Vaishnavis. Yam whom Harmya Prishte, on the roof of the palace, Kvanat Angri Shobham, whose beauty was heightened by the tinkling ornaments on her feet. Bikri Datim, playing. Khandukka Vivala Akshim, with eyes bewildered, following her ball. Vishvavashu, Nyapatat, fell down. Svat, from his own. Vimanat, from the airplane. Vilokya, seeing. Sammoha Vimudha Cheta, whose mind was stupefied. Translation. I have heard that Vishvavasu, the great Gandharva, his mind stupefied with infatuation, fell from his airplane after seeing your daughter playing with a ball on the roof of the palace. For she was indeed beautiful, with her tinkling ankle bells and her eyes moving to and fro. Please repeat. I have heard that Vishvavasu, the great Gandharva, his mind stupefied with infatuation, fell from his airplane after seeing your daughter playing with a ball on the roof of the palace. For she was indeed beautiful, with her tinkling ankle bells and her eyes moving to and fro. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It is understood that not only at the present moment, but in those days also, there were skyscrapers. Herein we find the word Harmya Prishte. Harmya means a very big palatial building. Svat Vimanat means from his own airplane. It is suggested that private airplanes or helicopters were also current in those days. The Gandharva Vishvavasu, while flying in the sky, could see Devahuti playing ball on the roof of the palace. Ball playing was also current, but aristocratic girls would not play in a public place. Ball playing and other such pleasures were not meant for ordinary women and girls. Only princesses like Devahuti could indulge in such sports. It is described here that she was seen from the flying airplane. This indicates that the palace was very high. Otherwise, how could one see her from an airplane? The vision was so distinct that the Gandharva Vishvavasu was bewildered by her beauty and by hearing the sound of her ankle bells. And being captivated by the sound and beauty, he fell down. Kardama Muni mentioned the incident as he had heard it. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yam harmya prishtek vanadangri shobham vigritatim kanduka vivalakshim vishva vashurnya patatsvat vimanat vilokya sammoha vimoda cheta. I've heard that Vishva Vasu, the great Gandharva, his mind stupefied with infatuation, fell from his airplane after seeing your daughter playing with a ball on the roof of the palace, for she was indeed beautiful, with her tinkling ankle bells and her eyes moving to and fro. Hare Krishna. So we are continuing this account of Kardama Muni accepting as his wife the beautiful, highly qualified daughter Swayambhuva Manu, Devahuti. Here in the purport we find Srila Prabhupada outlining in a brief way a description of some of the opulences of Swayambhuva Manu. Skyscrapers. From this description it seems like the skyscrapers at that time may have been much higher than the skyscrapers that we have now. I think the highest one I have in my experience is Burj Khalifa in Dubai. I think it's currently the tallest. I think it's the tallest at the moment. And we went there, and they say that right at the top you can see the curvature of the earth. We didn't go right to the top. We went maybe to the 100th floor or something. But still, it was quite an experience to be that high. And one will marvel at the opulence of the Emiratis to have built such a thing. But it seems that those types of skyscrapers was a bit incidental, commonplace in those days, especially in the kingdom of Swayambhuva Manu. As was being described earlier, Swayambhuva Manu was the emperor or the controller of the entire universe. Yes, there were demigods that were in certain positions higher than him in certain way, but he was sort of the organizer of everything, being the Manu, being the Manvantara avatar, an expansion, an incarnation, a type of incarnation of the Supreme Lord. So they had such opulences, and being such a personality, an incarnation of God, for a specific purpose, Manvantara avatar, one can expect, one should not be so surprised that they would have such amazing opulences. To have buildings that go up to that height, that airplanes flying would be so close to it. Right? Our airplanes, once it's reaching cruising altitude, it's about 30,000 feet or something. It's pretty high, 10 or so kilometers above the ground. It's very high. And he was so close to the roof of that skyscraper that he could clearly see the beauty of Devahuti. It was, Prabhupada used the word, the vision was so distinct. The vision, and he was also so close, he could hear. I'm not sure if his airplane was jet powered or by those engines where you can't hear anything, but he could hear the tinkling of the ankle bells. So these opulences are there. We find Krishna, he's known as Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the possessor of all opulences. So the Lord possesses all these opulences, and his devotees as well possess all opulences. It may be manifest in some way at some times, and it may be unmanifest in the case of pure devotees. But they do possess it. And Swayambhuva Manu, great devotee, manifestation of the Supreme Lord, also possessed it, and his daughter as well. being a great devotee of Krishna. Also in this section we heard some classes ago of the mood or the consciousness of Swayambhuva Manu, that he had such a qualified daughter in Devahuti, beauty beyond compare. We reading now, just by seeing her playing ball. We won't get into much details of playing ball and who's qualified to play ball. But just by seeing her playing ball on the roof of her palace and hearing her ankle bell, she was so beautiful, so attractive that a great Gandharva, a great demigod, Vishvavasu, was bewildered. So bewildered that he fell down off his airplane. He was so bewildered. So she was so qualified in all respects. But yet Swayambhuva Manu chose someone as simple, as from a humble situation, a hermit living in a very run-down situation. He selected him, Kardama Muni, to be the husband of his daughter. We discussed it a little bit, we explored it a little bit the other day with, I think Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj was giving class, that this is his consciousness. Yes, he saw all the needs of his daughter, he saw to it, but he understood that the ultimate need of his daughter was to be situated in a position, in an optimal position to render service to Krishna. So he placed her under the care, under the direction, under the guidance, the protection of the most qualified person, not by external learning, not by external wealth or fame or strength or beauty, but by the qualification of his deep conviction in service to God, service to Krishna. And by that result, by the guidance of Kardama Muni, by the protection, by the instructions of Kardama Muni, what was the result, or what was the goal achieved by Devahuti in the end? She became qualified that she bore the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She became that eligible. So this shows broad-mindedness of what is real aim in life. So in this current day, of course, there are other variables we have to take into account when selecting a husband for our daughters. There's many things. But this qualification of the candidate being a devotee of Krishna should not be a by-the-way criteria. Like sometimes it's, I've discussed with parents sometimes, and it'll be a bonus if he can be a devotee. It's like the bonus qualification. No, this should be as important, if not more, than anything else. Yes, being handsome, being wealthy, being learned, all those things should be there. But most important, decorative quality, attractive quality in a person is that they surrendered to Krishna. And Kardama Muni was exceptionally surrendered to Krishna. Kardama Muni, we heard, he developed a desire, although he was meditating for so many thousands of years. What was it? 10,000 years? A long time to be meditating, And through that meditation, you definitely develop Shakti and potency. But despite that meditation, he developed a desire to marry, to marry. Sometimes in the temple, we may find there's a brahmachari. Wow, he's been a brahmachari for 10 years, 15 years. And then suddenly, he changes into white. You may have experienced that sometimes in temple situation. And you walk past the Prabhu and you look again, oh, he changed. What happened? He fell down. Something's wrong. He's in Maya. But here Kardama Muni had a desire to get married. So it's showing that even though one may be practicing on a certain path, because we are in the material nature, we are surrounded by allurements, it may be the case that one may develop a desire to get married. It's not that it is wrong to have that. To desire is the natural condition of the living entity. However, as we are taught and shown by Kardama Muni, how we act on those desires, how those desires are facilitated, is the real key to being protected by Krishna. So it's not sinful to consider getting married, but there's a culture, a regulated process on how we can develop that desire, or fulfill that desire. We read earlier that Kardama Muni, once he developed the desire, he didn't say, okay, now I'm going to go out, find the beautiful girl and make it happen. No. He followed a process of culture. He was patient. He did not just whimsically act on his desire. Rather, we heard in class some time ago that it would have been a lower class action if he went out and made his own choice and approached the parents of the girl, please, I want your hand in marriage, because that could be disadvantageous to him in the long run, as was discussed. But he was patient and waited for the Lord's will to be acted out. And in due course of time, Swayambhuva Manu, seeing the qualification of Kardama Muni, offered his most qualified daughter to him and gave all sorts of interesting reasons that if things come of their own accord and if it's beneficial, you should accept it, and things like that. So based on that, and seeing the hand of Krishna, the hand of the Supreme Lord, in the request of Swayambhuva Manu, and understanding and appreciating their relationship, Kardama Muni accepted the hand of Devahuti. So he acted according to culture. This culture, this dharma protects us. We will all have desires, but if we do not have a vehicle, a foundation of culture, we can be lost, we can be swept away. It is very, very easy. So Kardama Muni, he followed that path. Because imagine, just by the brief descriptions of the beauty of Devahuti, imagine marrying a girl like Devahuti. The husband would be, a normal person would be completely bewildered, starstruck, completely finished. Life over for him. But because he had the strength of culture and proper training, he wasn't bewildered. Rather, he was still giving direction. He wasn't bewildered in any way. And he was so focused on his own goal in life, we will read later on, that even though he accepted the hand of Devahuti in marriage, it was on one condition, that as soon as she's pregnant or bore a son, he was going to leave and focus on practicing bhakti, devotional service. And he did that. He actually did that. This was his conviction. So when we follow dharma, when we uphold the principles of dharma and culture, we in turn are protected by that dharma. Because Kardama Muni followed dharma, followed the cultural process of how to be married, how to fulfill one's desire of getting married. It's not that later on he was a henpecked husband, he was just caught up for years and years and years without being able to leave the Grihastha ashram, without being able to focus on one's actual aim in life. No, he had this presence of mind, he had the strength, he had the detachment, because he was protected by the same dharma that he upheld and protected. What's that phrase? Dharma rakshati rakshitaha. One who protects dharma by our own upholding of dharma, we are protected by it. So we find that statement, one who protects dharma is protected in turn by dharma, can be applied in so many ways in our lives. Like it said, the cow is an embodiment of dharma. If one protects the cow, one in turn gets protected. But similarly, in our cultural lives, by upholding proper principles of culture and dharma, we can also be protected in the same way. Then again, we find dharma, one must be cautious also. Krishna in the end of Bhagavad Gita, he says, dharma parityagya, sarva dharman parityagya. And sometimes it could be read as one must abandon all dharmas. But still, we live by dharma. Remember Krishnadas Swami, His Holiness Krishnadas Swami used to say, live by dharma and die by dharma. Right? Yeah. So it's not that we just abandon whimsically, oh, this is not for me. All I meant to do is simply sit and chant Hare Krishna. I don't have to worry about being clean, the dharma of cleanliness. I don't have to worry about the dharma of respectful dealings. I don't have to worry about the dharma of being respectful to women and elders. I don't have to worry about any dharma, because Krishna says, parityagya, abandon it, just move away from it. As long as I can simply chant, I can simply exercise or show my surrender to Krishna. That's very whimsical, and that's an immature understanding of that statement. Rather, one must be able to, when Krishna desires, give up all one's responsibilities. Because we require dharma to protect us. We require dharma to be able to fortify us, to purify us, to a level that we can actually sit and chant the holy name of Krishna. Of course, the ultimate dharma is to chant the holy name, to be a servant of Krishna. But if we are not properly purified, which in this age of Kali is very common, then we will be very distracted by so many attractions and attachments and allurements out there, that at any moment, by chanting, I mean, I'm sure all of you, during the time, some buzz on your phone while chanting japa or something in your mind comes, and you try to attend to it, or you deal with it. That's not completely pure chanting. So to get to the level of pure chanting, abandoning everything and just serving Krishna, one needs to be purified. Hence the acharyas, especially Srila Prabhupada, gave us the process of deity worship, archana. That is not our main activity. Our main activity is hearing and chanting. But he has given us this. Why? So we can purify our habits. If we do not purify our habits, we will be attracted by bad habits. Rising early, taking bath, wearing clean cloth, attending the program, taking prasad in a proper way, in the proper mood, in a clean place, learning all these aspects of dharma and culture. They are necessary to purify the heart. So when we do sit and chant, we can be very peaceful and focused in chanting. Otherwise, we can be very, very bewildered. Very, very bewildered. We find also here Vishvavasu, the great Gandharva, very exalted person, of course, having so much of opulence. And to get that level of opulence or that situation, he must have heaped or amassed a lot of piety, must be a very cultured, dharmic person. But yet, by seeing a young girl, I don't know, I can't remember her age at this time, but it must have been a young teenager around that time. Maybe 12 or 13 or something, or 14. Maybe very, very young age. But even a child like that, he became bewildered by her beauty. Became bewildered. So beauty is there. These opulences of Krishna are all there. So it's not wrong to recognize beauty, to notice, oh yes, that is a beautiful object, or that is a beautiful person, that is a handsome man. The deity is beautiful. We have standards of beauty by our conditioning and cultural and social training. Of course, it changes from time to time. Some shapes are nicer. I mean, we're nicer in the 50s as compared to now. Some colors were more appreciated then than now. Some hairstyles more then than now. So it changes from time to time. But there's a general sort of norm. And we can recognize, yes, this is beautiful. This is not beautiful. So the recognition of it is not wrong. After all, it is Krishna's opulence. Just as then we could say, if I see a beautiful scenery, oh no, that's Maya. But if we see it in connection with Krishna and engage it in the service of Krishna, then that is the proper use. So recognizing that there is beauty is proper. But then acting in the proper relationship, the proper rasa with that opulence of beauty, that is the real key. We find in the case of Vishvavasu, he acted in the wrong relationship with Devahuti's beauty. He was so attracted and bewildered simply by hearing the ankle bells and seeing her beauty that he fell down. Why did he fall down? Because he wanted to enjoy her beauty. He coveted her beauty for his own pleasure. So we will see around us, according to our conditioning, according to our type of appreciation of different things, strength, money, wealth, learning, beauty, whatever. We should recognize it, but see it in relation to Krishna. That's important. This is important. Just like Srila Prabhupada, once he said that if a young beautiful girl has to come and join the temple, we should not think, oh yes, there is a nice beautiful girl for me to enjoy. No, rather we think, oh yes, here's a nice beautiful girl who has come. Let me engage in the service of Krishna. Of course, then if we have the consciousness that I am representing Krishna, let me enjoy it, so that way Krishna enjoys, then there's also it's a corruption of that relationship with that beauty. It's a corruption. And how to attain that, how to attain the position, how to maintain this position of seeing everything in relation to Krishna, one has to depend on one's cultural development, one's dharmic development, developing proper behavior, proper habits through the process of sadhana bhakti. Then that builds us up, that builds our strength up to a level where we will see beauty, but we won't be distracted out of its proper position, of utilizing it in its proper position in service to Krishna. Because every day we will have opportunities to be distracted, isn't it? And of course, we're in lockdown now, we're not so much going out there. But even in the temple, we may find something in the past, something that in the past didn't attract us, or someone in the past that didn't attract us. Suddenly, oh, because of lockdown, I got nowhere else to look now. Oh, this looks interesting. This will be an interesting option now to consider and develop, and let me make some moves, so to speak. No. We will be tested every day by opportunities to be attracted by Maya, or to engage that same Maya, that divine energy of Krishna, in Krishna's service. But we need to be fortified, we need to be strengthened by dharma, by culture. By culture. This is important. Otherwise we will be like Vishvavasu. He fell down, yes, physically, but also he fell down off his airplane just because he coveted the beauty of Devahuti. This is what happened. But for a devotee, you may wonder, like Vishvavasu, and you find so many accounts in the Shastra, right? Even just by hearing the ankle bells or the bangles tinkling, great sages. Vishwamitra is a classic example we always hear. He was practicing austerity and meditation for so many years that Indra got worried that he's going to amass so much of power that he may overpower me. So he sent one of the heavenly damsels. Who was that? Menaka. And Menaka is just by the tinkling of her, I think it was the bangles or the ankle bells, his meditation broke. And immediately he fathered a child. Of course, a special child, a celebrated child, Shakuntala, but still his meditation broke. He fell down. You hear in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the marriage of the daughter of the ocean, Shatadruti. She was so beautiful, it's described that at her wedding, all the demigods were attracted to come and attend her wedding. And during the wedding, as she's circumambulating her groom, her husband-to-be, 7 times, even at that point, one of the demigods, Agni, the fire god, whom we offer oblations into he got so bewildered, and he decided, I want to enjoy this girl, this young girl. Even at her own marriage, that's how he was bewildered. So you may find that big demigods, they get bewildered. Vishvavasu, Agnidev, Vishvamitra, great sages. What for us? Small, weak, minuscule living entities. But we have the opportunity. One thing we have is we do not have much opulence compared to the demigods. So it's not easy to get bewildered like how they will get bewildered. But we have the process of devotional service. We have the opportunity to surrender to Krishna. Daivi Esha Gunamai, Mama Maya Duratya. Krishna says in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, this energy of mine, it's not ordinary, it's divine, it is very powerful. It is very difficult, Duratya, to overcome. Very, very difficult. But if one surrenders unto me, Prapadyante, if one surrenders unto me, one can cross beyond it. Not just cross beyond it, Krishna says, Prabhupada translates it like that. One can easily cross beyond it, he says. So this process of devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master, under the arrangement that Srila Prabhupada has made for us, we can, if we apply ourselves properly, can easily cross beyond it. But crossing beyond it doesn't mean we won't cross back. We mustn't think that, yes, now I'm attracted to Krishna, because Prabhupada says if you are attracted by Krishna, then you won't be attracted by anything else. Attraction is not static, that I've attained it now, I am there. You have to consistently maintain attraction to Krishna through the hearing and chanting process, through the process of sadhana bhakti, through the process of continual purification of the heart. Otherwise, one will turn back. Let me cross. I came over once, let me try it again. Let me go over and I'll try it. I can just hop over each time. No. That's a very, very dangerous mentality, a very, very dangerous condition. So we maintain that attraction to Krishna through service, humble service to the spiritual master, humble service to the Vaishnavas. It's essential. So attraction to Krishna. Attraction to Krishna, to engage in devotional service, one requires lots and lots of lifetimes of piety. And I know for myself, in this one lifetime, I have not accrued much, if any, piety. And Prabhupada was once asked about this and says, I have created all your good fortune, all your piety. Now you are eligible. So we have the blessings of the Vaishnavas, the representatives of Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, in the form of his books, in the form of his teachings, that have given us the qualification to engage in bhakti, to become attracted to Krishna. And if we simply stick by it, we will maintain the attraction. Just like some weeks ago, I remember, I think Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj, yes, he gave the class, and he gave a story of one great devotee of Ramanujacharya. I'll just repeat that story just to show how, if one is attracted by Krishna, by the mercy of the great devotee, how one can be completely safeguarded from attraction to Maya. So Maharaj was speaking about one person, Damodar, in South India, in the town of Srirangam, that he was hopelessly, of course there's different versions of the story, different ways it's told, but he was hopelessly attracted to this one society girl. That in a procession one day, he was just holding an umbrella over her and hopelessly ogling her, just staring at her. And in India, if you do that, it's really like, this is ridiculous, this is really low class, such a shameful activity. And Ramanuja, the great saint Ramanujacharya, saw this and decided, wow, just see this man, he's so bewildered, so attracted and infatuated. Let me try and help him. So a desire in Ramanujacharya's heart developed to help this Damodar. So he called him over, he had his disciples call him over, and he came over and said, my dear Damodar, you are shamelessly just looking at this girl. What is it about her that attracts you? And then he told Ramanuja, oh my great sage, I can't help it. She is so beautiful. I'm so attracted to her. There's nothing I can do. I'm just helpless. And then Ramanujacharya asked, well, what about her? What is the thing that attracts you the most about her? And he said, my dear Ramanuja, it is her lotus eyes that I just cannot deal with. It is so attractive. I just keep looking at it. And the saint said, well, what would you do if I show you something, if I introduce you to something that's even more beautiful than her eyes? And he said, then I will dedicate my life to that beauty. Then he called him over and said, come with me at a certain appropriate time. Took him to the Rangaji temple, the temple of Lord Ranganath. And there he prayed to Lord Ranganath. Acharya prayed to Lord Ranganath, please, he is so attracted, this Damodar is so attracted to the eyes of a material woman. Please exhibit your potency and attract him to your mercy. And when Damodar took darshan of that beautiful form of Lord Ranganath lying down on Anantasesh, and he came to his lotus eyes, you can see it today, it's like gold and beautiful lotus eyes, he got completely attracted, and he gave his life to the service of Ramanuja, and Ranganathji. So this was the potency. But then we find out later on what happened to Damodar. He became a disciple of Ramanujacharya, one of his foremost disciples, and that same girl that he was attracted to, Ramanujacharya married them and engaged them in service. And he became one of the prominent disciples that Ramanuja was always dependent on him, showing much favor to him. To the extent it's described that other disciples of Ramanujacharya became a bit envious and expressed in some way their envy or their dissatisfaction with Ramanujacharya's relationship with Damodar. Now remember, here was the person who was hopelessly attracted by Maya, now was saved by the mercy and prayers of Ramanuja, and of course the beauty of Krishna, his eyes, has now become an exalted dear servant of his guru. But some disciples were complaining. So Ramanuja decided, okay, I'll teach them a lesson. He said, okay, tonight I will keep Damodardas with me till very late. And of course his wife will go to sleep. So you go in the middle of the night, and while she's sleeping, you steal all the jewelry that's in their home, even the jewelry that she is wearing while sleeping. So they went, they thought, just see. Now we will see what type of a disciple, how detached Damodardas is, when he loses some jewelry, how he'll lament and things like that. So they went in, stole all the jewelry, and she woke up by the sound of those Vaishnavas stealing, the disciples of Ramanuja stealing in their home. And she noticed, and as they were speaking very quietly, she realized, these are the disciples of my guru, Ramanuja. They must be so hungry. They must be so desperate that they are here. So better I don't startle them. Let them take what they want. This was her consciousness. So they were taking, then they saw the jewelry on her and they started taking it off her bangles, anklets. And then she thought, they are only able to get the jewelry of one side. Let me very slowly turn over so that they can take the other side jewelry. But as she slowly turned over, they got very scared and thought she was waking up, so the disciples ran away from the house. Right? And they went back to Ramanujacharya. And at that point, he had just sent Damodardas away. So they told him what had happened. They told Ramanuja what had happened. Say, okay, so now you go and stand by the window and see the interaction between Damodardas and his wife. So when Damodardas went, the wife was telling him, oh my dear Lord, this is what had happened. The disciples of Sri Ramanujacharya, they must have been so desperate and so poor and so hungry that they came and they were stealing. And I let them steal thinking that they're so desperate. But as soon as I turned slightly for them to steal the jewels on the other side of my body, they ran away. And Damodardas became so upset with his wife. Said, you scared them away. This was an opportunity for us to do service for them, and you scared them away. What is wrong with you? And he was chastising his wife. And those disciples who were hiding behind the window on the outside of the house and hearing, they became so ashamed. That just see the level of detachment that they have, that they are not ordinary grihastas. But some time ago he was so attached, so bewildered by material opulence. But now, by the attraction of Krishna, by the mercy of their guru, they became completely free from that attraction, the allurement of the material world. So, connecting or relating to in the proper way all the opulences that are out there, fame, beauty, strength, everything, learning, that is the key to remaining safe. It's not that we reject it like the Mayavadis, this is all Maya, leave it aside, I don't want to touch it, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to accept it. No. We must be like Srila Prabhupada. When someone gives him a lakh of rupees in one hand, not like the Mayavadis, they'll say, no, I don't want to touch it, it's too bewildering. What does Prabhupada do? Other hand, can I have another? Because we can engage it in Krishna's service. So everything out there is meant to be engaged in Krishna's service. But at the same time, we can't be reckless. We can't be reckless. We have to know how to engage. Am I qualified enough to engage this level of opulence in the service of Krishna? If it's coming to me and I'm doubtful, then you send that responsibility to a more qualified person. That's very, very, very important. We must keep ourselves safe. Yes, we are taught during the lockdown, during this whole COVID-19, keep safe, wash hands, wear the mask, don't go out in public. Yes, but even now and beyond this time, we have to keep safe, keep washing our hearts, wear the protective gear of associating properly with devotees, and don't go out and associate with mundane people that will just draw our spiritual energy away from us. We must keep safe on all respects. So I'll stop here. Marge, you have any comments? Thoughts you'd like to share? Ram Govinda Maharaj? All right, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Before you all leave, there was just a couple of things that we wanted to discuss with you about the operations and just the general situation at the temple.